I'm Dane, and this is Dan Explains. Welcome to my 200th episode. That's right, that means I've been doing this for 200 weeks now. My subscriber count certainly shows that I'm not in this for the attention it gets me, but thank you if you are a subscriber. For this episode, I'd like to touch on a topic I haven't talked about for a while, Genesis 1, and what, taking it literally, matches with the scientific understanding of the creation of our universe. So how does Genesis 1 and science match? Let me explain. First off, if you're a biblical literalist and you'd like to reject this out of hand, I suggest you watch a video I made a month or so ago. Actually, 2 videos which reconcile the story of Genesis 2 with science. I'll link them in the description. Or I'm not going to hit every verse in Genesis 1 in detail. This video is too short for that. The first creation God does in Genesis 1 is creating light. This makes sense and actually matches with the idea of the Big Bang, because light would have been the first thing. Then God created the firmament, which is basically space, and separates the matter. This also checks out with the very early universe. After the Big Bang, the universe started to expand. Simple matter, mostly hydrogen, started to condense into bodies. Then God creates dry land, and then vegetation. This actually happens before God creates lights, aka stars, with the exception of vegetation, which I'll touch on in a moment. This matches with what's called the Dark Ages of the universe, which lasted from about 400,000 years after the Big Bang to 400 million years after the Big Bang. As the universe cooled, space was full of gas, which absorbed all light. About halfway through this period, stars formed, which were huge and short-lived. The collapse of these stars created the first matter besides hydrogen, hence creating dry land. In the next paragraph, Genesis 1:14, God creates the lights in the sky. This matches with the end of the Dark Ages, in an era known as reionization, when the universe became transparent and the stars could be seen. Also, in Genesis 1:14, God creates the sun and the moon, which happened about 10 billion years later. So, Genesis 1:14 was the largest epoch of creation, which is how the days in Genesis 1 are described at the beginning of Genesis 2. Then, God created the animals on Earth, which again matches with the science. Interestingly, God doesn't make land creatures until the next passage, which, guess what, matches with evolution. At least the evolution of animals, anyway. It's at this point God finally creates man. Again, it makes sense. We're kind of the newest kids on the block. When it comes to what I think about human evolution, look at the 2 videos I linked in the description about Genesis 2. This brings us to a close for Genesis 1. Everything with the notable exception of one thing, the creation of vegetation, happens in the order of creation as scientifically understood. Now, it obviously takes a lot longer than 7 literal days, but look at it this way. God doesn't even create the sun and the moon until Genesis 1:14. So how could the earth have had literal days? Also, it says at the beginning of Genesis 2 that days were epochs, or generations of creation, clearly indicating the days weren't literal 24-hour periods. Now, the interesting discrepancy is that if the creation narrative is correct, God creates vegetation during the Dark Ages of the universe. This would seem to indicate that life in the universe, at least non-animal life, arose early in the universe. Now, this has been proposed before by a professor at Harvard named Avi Loeb. Now, he does have some kooky ideas. He was the astronomer who proposed the asteroid called Oumuamua, which made headlines some years ago, as the first extrasolar comet was actually an alien probe sent to check out Earth. Now, during the Dark Ages of the universe, there was a period when the universe wasn't hot anymore, but it was still warm, like Earth today, but it was the whole universe. This period would have been about 300 million years after the Big Bang, so millions of years after the first stars died. Professor Loeb proposed that single-cellular life started during this period. If that's the case, then the universe would most likely be full of life, at least where it's possible for life to take hold, although not necessarily complex life like ours on Earth. So the Bible may just give us a hint as to where to look for the origin of life. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and other topics ranging from theology to science, please press the like button. Subscribe to my channel and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon to get extra content and special perks. Link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.